Hey, hey, hey. I guess I made a video and it wasn't no sound. That's funny. So, anyway, all right. So, there's a question that I get a lot in my consultations. Well, there's a few questions. I think one day I'm going to create a frequently asked question sheet. And so, there is a question that I get a lot, and it is in regards to what type of group home should I do? What type of group home should I do? That is like one of the top questions that people ask me. And so I wanted to speak on it today. I'm going to tell you my pet peeve when it comes to that. My pet peeve is I hate when people say, what type of group home should I do? Which one makes the most money? That is really a pet peeve of mine. So if you book a consultation with me in the future, don't ask me that. Because my thing is, for one, yes, I do understand you are in business and you have to make money to be in business. You have to make a profit at some point to be in business, to stay in business, okay? And so I'm not about not making money. We should make money for what we do. But when people say, which group home pays the most? Just know this, you're probably not willing to start with the group home that makes the most. And so I have had people shut down thinking they wanted a high, a level client. And I had an actual group home, some people that I set the group home up for them and everything. They got that client and that it was a doozy. And they shut their group home down off of one client. And that is no joke. So don't say, I want which client pays the most or what pays the most. You need to go through a process of elimination on what type of group home you want to do. And I can't make that choice for you. So these are things that I tell people to look at when you're wanting to do a group home. Because I will tell you guys, I always tell you the story on my sister was bipolar schizophrenic. So when I started my group home, I picked the demographic that was bipolar schizophrenic. The demographic was SMI in Arizona. It was SMI and it was severely mentally ill. She fit within that category, so that is the group that I chose to do. Adults, okay? Because when I was born, my sister was an adult. She was 21 years my senior. So I didn't know her when she was a kid or what she was going through when she was a kid. I knew her as an adult all my life. So that is why I chose the demographic that I chose. Okay? And so you have to go through some type of process of elimination to know what type of group home that you want to do. Sometimes it falls in your lap and then you accept it and you move on. I have mentees that were put in positions to do a certain type of group home, and it was great because it aligned with what they already had going on. But they still had to make sure that it was something that was right for them. Okay, so when I say get to the point, it's because that is how I break down kind of things that I want to do. And so you can use it for, to see what type of group home that you want to do, your process of elimination. So P on point, POINT. P is passion. What is your passion? What did I tell you guys? My passion was my sister being mentally ill. Therefore, that is what I did. I tried seniors. That was not my passion. I did it for a couple of years. It all worked out, but that was not my passion. I tried children. Definitely not my passion. I don't even like my kids. No, I love my grandkids, but not my passion. Therefore, seniors, like I said, I did for a couple of years. Children, I did for 10 months. I didn't even last a year. I was like, shut it down. This is, let's get them transferred. I couldn't do it. It was just too much for me. That might be your passion. But I feel like passion or purpose. Kind of depends on how you want to look at the P. But I feel like that is something that you need to think about when you're going into this field. What do you feel called to do? What do you feel called to do? You might want to deal with people with addictions. It might be something else. You might had someone in your family that had brain trauma, so you only want to take brain trauma clients. It just depends on what are you naturally drawn to. What could you commit to long term? See, that's the thing about it, because when you start a group home, you want to have a long-term successful group home. So what can you commit to long term? So don't come to me with which one pay the most. Because you may not be able to commit to that long term. And it's to me, even with myself, it wasn't fair to me to do kids when I knew, but they kept asking me, please do kids. You guys are, you're doing such a great job. Can you do kids? We have such a backlog. They were staying in hospitals. They still are, They were sending them to different states. So I said, you know what? I talked to my team. Actually, part of my team was like, no, let's not do it. But I was like, the people, they want us to do it. And honestly, I was being a little greedy too, because I was like, there's more money involved with kids. We can do this, team. And then we got into it and it was like, oh, heck no. No, honey. When you used to the state coming out once a year, maybe twice, and they was coming out every week, not for me. I like calm, cool, collected houses. I like to set the tone. You can't really do that with someone whose brain is not fully developed. And so it wasn't my passion. You guys need to think about, what is your passion? What is your purpose? Oh, what is your operational capacity? What do you feel like you want to deal with? Like I said, I didn't want high level supervision over me. I didn't want the state coming out every week. Therefore, I won't do kids, So you have to think about, what is your operational capacity? Can you manage higher end or lower end lower need population? Is that something that you can manage? Do you have the team? Are you in an area where you can hire employees easily? If you're in an area in the middle of nowhere, then you may not want to do DDD. You know why? Because you might get clients that are 2-to-1 or 3-to-1. Are you going to be able to hire that much staff if you're in the middle of nowhere? What is your operational capacity? So that's P and that's O. Now we move to I. What is your income and investment? Can you afford to open a group home? Can you afford it? Do you have, a startup budget? Are you looking to get paid through Medicaid or private pay or grants? If you're totally like, I just want grants, expect not to get money for a long time, because it might take you a long time to get a grant. So these are the type you need to think about. What is your return on investment that you're expecting? If you're sitting there saying, well, my family is going to pull their money together, are they using their last? Are they expecting a return within 30 days, within 60 days? Then you might not want to go that way. And I know people talk about business funding, but you got to think, you get business funding, how are you going to pay that money back? Or can you afford your regular expenses to fund your group home. I'm saying your regular expenses, funding for your group home, and be able to make the payments once the payments are due. Are you able to do that? That's something you need to think about. You need to think about your income and your investment. And then what if you're in a state that needs reserves? What if I'm in Virginia. I need 90 days of whatever my household budget is, which ends up adding up to $15,000. I need that to sit in the bank, not touch, to sit in the bank. Plus I need money to run my home. Or what if you're in Mississippi for the type of group home that needs $150,000 in reserves? Do you have $150,000 to sit in a bank and then have the money to run your group home? So these are the type of questions you guys need to ask yourself. What is the income? What is the investment? What is going to be my return on investments if I'm taking out loans or borrowing from my family? Can my family wait a year to get their money back? Can my friend wait? So you need to think about that. And you need to think about the different models and what the demands on capital will be. Because there's a difference between the price of running a group home for elderly and running a group home for adults. So think about that, because elderly may not require as much. They might not need as much food. If you got a 20-year-old or a 21-year-old in a group home on medication, they can eat. So you need to think about that. Process of elimination, getting to the point. Like I said, N is for needs. Is there a need in your community for the type of group home that you are wanting to do? Is there a need? Are there 50,000 senior homes in your neighborhood? Will there be a need for the type of group home that you are wanting to do? All right, because you need to know what services are needed. You need to know, is there a wait list? Or is there a wait list for Medicaid waivers? Is there a wait list to get credential with Medicaid? Know this before you open. Is it saturated in your area? It may be saturated. You may be in Dallas. Dallas has too many group homes. You may want to move to the outskirts, And so go through that process of elimination. Don't go somewhere that's already overcrowded or oversupplied. Do your due diligence. And then T, coming to T. T is training. Training and licensing requirements. Can you meet those training and licensing requirements? Do you have the degrees or the certifications, or do you have anyone in your network? Or do you have the income, to pay someone to do it? You have to know all of these things. Are you willing to go back to school? Are you willing to do like I did? I went and got my caregiver certification in my area, because that was a requirement to have a personal care home. And so I went and took the class and did it. But if it's, if you're someone that's like, no, I ain't never trying to get no certificate, do you have the money to pay someone to do it? Just like I taught myself billing. Or do you have the funds to pay a biller? So just know that there's going to be some type of training or licensing requirements. Are you able to take care of that? Are you able to do that? Or is someone in your network, are you able to hire? So you just need to get to the point and go through the process of elimination. You need to know if this is a part of your passion or your purpose. You need to know your operational capacity. You need to know what income or investment that you're going to need. And you need to know if there's a need in your area. And you also need to know if you have or are willing to get or pay someone to do the training or licensing requirements to have the type of group home that you need. So before you come to me and ask me what type of group home should I do? Get to the point. Get to the point, because you need clarity. You need clarity, okay? What doesn't align, you need to not spend no time. Now I'm going to make it rhyme. But yeah, if it doesn't align with the point, then guess what? Then maybe you shouldn't do it. I mean, another option, some people are like, I don't have any income. Another option may be you may want to be a host home, where you go in under someone else's license in your area and you take care of developmentally disabled people, but it's within your home. That may be something that you do in order to get off the ground. You know, I have a mentee moved to a whole new state, and she's doing a host home in that state in order to make money to put to the side for her to have an actual group home in her hometown. And so you do what you have to do in order to get things done, but just make sure that you're getting to the point. Make sure that you're going through the elimination process in order to know if this is the right type of group home for you. So don't expect to come to Myrrie Hayes and say, what type of group home should I do? Which one pays the most? Go through these points to see what is the best thing for you. Okay? And if you still just like, I'm stuck and I don't want to go through the process, VIP Day is August the 8th in Phoenix, Arizona. August the 8th. It's an all-day thing with the focus on you, the VIP. Okay? And so if you're interested in launching your group home business and managing your group home business or scaling your group home business, then come spend a complete day with me and my team, and we will help you break that down to get you through the process and straight to the point. All right, you guys, that's all I got for you today. As I always say, be a blessing to someone else. Bye.